From the New York City area, welcome to the Badass Counseling Show, where the master badass himself, Sven takes you deep and gives balm for the soul, baby.
Hello to domestic pet lovers everywhere. Hello to animal lovers that may not be domestic pets. We like animals on this show. This is a show that has nothing to do with animals, but boy, do we like you. Thanks for tuning into our show. I only reference animals because Carly, our studio cat, is sitting quietly, laying quietly on the studio mixing board, and that always makes for a fine time. Occasionally we hear from her. There it is. Wow. Rob's normally quicker than that. I am, whether you are tuning in from the bayou of Louisiana down with the Cajun folk or way up in the northern tundra of those northern states of Northern Dakota and Montana and Minnesota, it's great to have you here tuning into the show. If you are sort of encountering some letdown from all of the spring sports ending, but gearing up for the NHL playoffs, I am with you in that boat. Maybe NBA too, but hey, I'm a North guy, so it's all about hockey. All right, it's great to have you here on the show. I'm joined in studio by KC over in the booth, and Sophia, the artist, is not able to join us in studio this evening, but I am joined in studio by Rob the Rocket. What say ye, Rob?
I'm quick. I am a high school graduate.
Yes, you is.
We are quick.
Yes, you is, and graduate of a few other fine institutions as well.
That's enough.
All right, fair enough. Rob, we have a couple of fine human beings on the show this evening, two actually, and we're going to be taking them separately. We have both Griffith and Aldo, but we're going to be taking Aldo first. Please tell us about Aldo.
All right, Sven, glad to. Aldo writes in and says, hello, Rob, Casey, and Sven. I've had so many failed relationships. I choose shitty people and become a doormat, or a camel, as you call it. I think I might have broken that cycle with my current relationship, but I still fear this one ending like the rest of them. I've been depressed from an early age, suicidal at some points, and attempted it when I was 14. I've held a gun to my head. I still fantasize about death sometimes. Some people might call me an adrenaline junkie. I should have died multiple times from all my accidents. I've abused almost every drug and used to be an alcoholic, and I blame my parents. My father left when I was 2, and my mother hid him from me until I was 9, when I discovered I had more siblings. I doubt she would ever told me about it if I had never found a baby picture with him in it. She was verbally abusive, telling me I'm dumb and a worthless piece of shit on multiple occasions. My bio dad was verbally, physically, and sexually abusive toward my siblings. I've written them both multiple letters. I've read self-help books, and I'm currently about 3 chapters into Love Cup. I want to confront them, but I can't bring up the courage. I'm so filled with rage sometimes I don't know what else to do. I don't want my daughter to feel any of the pain I felt in my childhood. I'm constantly worrying that I won't be good enough and she'll be filled with the same rage and self-hatred.
Aldo, it's great to have you on the show.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Thanks for coming. We're just going to bang out a couple of quick questions here first. You still fear this relationship ending like the rest of them. If you were to synopsize in 2 sentences how your relationships end, how do they end?
Usually with me and my partner at her throat, and us never seeing eye to eye.
And what is it that most causes you to be at another woman's throat, metaphorically speaking? I'll assume it's a woman. I probably shouldn't do that. But what is it that causes you to most be at your partner's throat?
I try to bring up like my pains or what bothers me in our relationships, and I usually end up getting blamed for them, or me bringing up my problems usually ends with us in an argument.
And why would it end with you in an argument? What goes on inside of you? You bring it up. So clearly you're wanting to talk about it. You're wanting to share it. Is it safe to say then when you bring it up, you feel like it gets mishandled, or it's not treated kindly, or you're not feeling heard? Something?
Yeah, I'm not feeling heard, and it gets misinterpreted as like a personal attack instead of trying to further our relationship.
Right. And you're trying to further the relationship by what? How does you bringing up your past hurts, and I'm not saying it's a bad idea, I'm just asking, you bringing up your past hurts and pains, how does that further the relationship?
By voicing how I want to be treated and loved.
Okay, that's
and
fair.
I don't know, seeing it as they're not perfect now, so that I'm not really sure.
No, you're doing great. They see it as, well, think about that. That makes total sense. If I were, let's say I'm in a relationship and I were to say to Susie, because of my past relationships, I realize I want someone who really listens to me and let me finish as my sentence and so on and so forth, because I've been with, women who didn't. And I also want someone who apologizes and mean it and forgives and mean it. Wait, are you saying I don't forgive? Wait, are you saying I don't listen? Wait a minute. We haven't really gotten into those things in our relationship. What's wrong with how I love you? Whoa. Hang on there, sugar tits.
Yeah.
I didn't talk about anything like that. I'm just talking about what my needs are. Okay. Now let me ask you, is it okay for you to have needs and wants in a relationship?
Of
course. Okay. Now, of course, how I convey that's maybe a different story. As my mom used to say, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So if I say to the other person, I demand that I be X, Y, and Z, and you haven't really shown it yet. And, I've got my eye on you. Now I come off as kind of a dick, right?
Yeah, see, my first few relationships were like that. I did come off as a dick, but
why did you change? Why did you change?
Because I know what it's like to have that aggression showed towards you, and I don't see it as beneficial.
There you go. You're learning. That's beautiful. May I ask how old you are, Aldo?
I'm 28.
28. That's great, man. You're learning and changing as you age. That's a beautiful thing. Now I want to go into what you were talking about. So we understand you fear it ending like the rest of them. And just actually one more thing on that. You fear it ending like the rest of them. And what is the main reason you fear it ending?
I wasn't necessarily looking for a relationship. I'd honestly given up on it. I've had quite a few failed ones, and this one, she seems like she actually cared about me and actually cared about my daughter. I took it slow and didn't even introduce her to my daughter for like a year.
Understood. Why do you fear it? Why do you fear it ending?
Because I made myself vulnerable again.
And so if it ends, then what?
I feel like I'm not worthy of love anymore still.
Right. It's scary when I put myself out there and I show you who I really am and my hurts and my owies and my dreams and all that, and then you reject me.
And I still end up not being worth it.
Or so it feels. Right.
Yeah.
That's how it feels. Right. I had a client once say to me, we had worked together for about 3 months, and then after about that, she took a month. We said, well, now let's go a month of not working together. And she came back after a month. We did a bit of a checkup. And then she was ready to take 2 months. And after 2 months, she had kept doing the work that I had assigned to her. And, she had read the book and all that, plus our journaling together, or our work together. And then she came after 2 months and she said this. I said, what's been the biggest change you've seen now over the last 6 months, but especially in the last 3 months? She said this, one of the most interesting lines I've ever heard someone say, a client in particular. She said, Sven, I'm more vulnerable. And this is with her employees. This is in love. This is with her own kids. I'm more vulnerable, but I feel less vulnerable. Isn't that interesting? That I can actually reveal even more of myself, but I don't feel vulnerable even in showing my vulnerabilities. And that's because she had fundamentally done the work of healing the hole in the bottom of her love cup. So she had begun to fill her own love with love cup. So she could show herself, and even if that love wasn't poured into her love cup, she was still okay. Anyway, I want to go back to what you were talking about as a child. I've been depressed from an early age. Earliest age you recall being depressed?
Third grade.
So that's roughly
what was that, 8, 9?
8 or 9, right in there. Suicidal at some points. Earliest you recall, even the remotest suicidal thought?
Probably 6th grade, 7th grade.
Okay, so 12 or 13. All right. And 14 when you attempted. All right. Held a gun to my head. Okay. I think you may or may not know about me from the podcast that I've got you probably see them. I've got, 9-inch scars up my forearms. So been there. I get it. I had to get myself out of a 12-year suicidal depression. I get it. I know what that place is like. I still fantasize about death sometimes. What would be the best part about being dead, you think?
Not having to feel the pain anymore.
What's the biggest pain you feel that makes you delight in the thought of death most? Biggest fucking pain that you would love to be relieved of?
I wouldn't hate myself anymore.
Hate yourself. Okay. That's fair. So let me ask you, just out of curiosity, what percent, spitball it, what percent do you hate yourself presently?
Probably about 90.
90%. What's the most percent you've ever hated yourself in your entire life? What's the highest percent? I mean, 90 is pretty fucking high, but what's the highest it's ever been? Maybe this is the highest. I don't know.
No, probably 100%. That's what got me close to all the attempts I've had.
Sure. So it sounds like that was that just in, when you were a teenager, or was that?
No. Yeah, I held the gun to my head when I was 21,
okay.
And I tried asphyxiating myself when I was 14,
okay.
But those were all like the direct ways. I guess I've kind of indirectly tried to kill myself.
The adrenaline shit, the adrenaline junkie shit, the drugs. It's fair. And so would it be safe during all those times you basically hated yourself 100%?
Yeah.
Okay, fair. What's the very earliest you recall, very youngest age you recall hating yourself even a small percent?
Probably about 5, maybe. Yeah.
And what, if you were to guess, I know it's kind of a weird question, but what percent self-hatred do you think you felt at 5?
20, probably about 20%.
Fair enough.
I mean, just not wanting to be here, just wanting to be away.
Wanting to be away. And the biggest thing that you wanted to be away from at 5 years old was what?
Home.
Specifically what?
My mom yelling at me or holding me down during a temper tantrum.
And which was worse? Tell me. I've never had that experience. What was worse for you, mom yelling at you or holding you down during a temper tantrum?
Probably yelling at me.
And why was that worse? And what would she say that made it so bad?
She would just ask me why I'm being a little shit, or tell me that I need to calm down, or she would yell at me as she was holding me down too, like straddle me and hold my arms to the floor so that way I couldn't kick or scream or.
Let me ask you this: does your daughter have temper tantrums?
Yeah, sometimes.
Why does your daughter have temper tantrums?
Because she gets overwhelmed.
Oh. I sort of got a little nasty with my girlfriend today. She runs my business, one of my businesses, and both my businesses. And I was in the middle of the day. I had 2 counseling clients, 4 hours each. It was right in between them. And I had been up this morning at 4:30 writing speeches that I'm giving to the Arizona National Guard next week. And she's fucking popping shit at me and, questions on this. And I'm like, fuck, I don't fucking know. Jesus Christ. Blah, blah, blah. I had a little fucking Sven temper tantrum because I was feeling fucking overwhelmed. Now, I'm willing to bet that you have had temper tantrums as an adult. I've had temper tantrums. Rob, had any temper tantrums in the last week?
Could be, yeah.
Yeah. So is it pretty normal for your daughter to have a fucking temper tantrum? Would that be a normal experience for a child? Especially when we probably haven't taught a child by her age. I don't even know what how old is she?
She's 9.
She's 9. 9-year-olds are still learning about what to do with their feelings and getting words for it. So it's pretty fucking normal, isn't it, to have a temper tantrum? Let me ask you, is your daughter a little shit?
No, she's amazing.
Is she dumb and a worthless piece of shit?
Not at all.
But you were.
Yeah.
Well, now you're tearing up right now. What's going on inside you? Talk to me right now. Let the tears come. It's good. What's going on inside of you right now that you are tearing up? Talk to me. Feel it. Talk to me.
I don't understand why
You don't understand why you were what? You're doing great.
why I was a piece of shit. Why I wasn't worth being shown love.
You don't understand why you were a piece of shit. Right? Did I hear you correctly?
Yeah. Yes.
So you believe you were a piece of shit.
No, but
Well, you must have been. She was sitting on you and calling you a piece of shit, so you must have been a piece of shit, right?
in her eyes,
But you just said, why? I don't understand why I was a piece of shit. I don't understand.
I don't understand why she thought I was.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. You're trying to understand. And let me ask you this. What have you believed is the answer for that question most of your life? What have you believed was the reason she thought you were a piece of shit?
Because I was an inconvenience to her.
Okay.
Because she didn't want me. Because
Do you believe that the reason she thought you were a piece of shit most of your life, have you genuinely believed that it's because you're the problem? Because something was fucked up about you and that's why? Like when you were a teenager, did you likely believe that if mom says I'm a piece of shit, there must be something fucked up about me. It must be my fault. Something's wrong with me.
I did believe that there was something wrong with me. I didn't believe it was my fault, though. I believe that.
What percent do you still believe? Be honest with me. Be straight with me now. What percent do you believe that there's something wrong with you?
80.
And why don't you tell me right now what it is precisely that you believe is wrong with you, such that she fucking nailed it when she was on top of you telling you you're a worthless fucking piece of shit. Tell me what it is that you believe. You've been working on this fucking equation for 28 years, so I want to know what your fucking big brain has come up with. What precisely is wrong with you that justifies you having the label, I am a fucking worthless piece of shit? Justifies your self-hatred. I want to know right now, once and for all, for the world, even our listeners down in Victoria, fucking Australia, I want to know what is wrong with you, such that she was right in telling a fucking 5-year-old, 9-year-old that he's a piece of shit. I want to know what's wrong with you.
I don't believe that there was anything wrong with me.
Oh, so then wait, you just said right now there's that 80% believe something's wrong with me. So that means from then till now, something changed. So tell me what fucking changed. So and furthermore, that means she was lying back then, or she was having fucking like premonitions and shit. I know you're going to become this really fucking bad person. So I'm going to call it out now. You're like Damien Omen 1, and I'm going to fucking call it out now. What the fuck? Did she know? Was there something wrong with you? What do you believe? I want to know what you believe.
I still kind of believe I am, because I've hurt people I've cared about. I've stolen.
Yeah. I guarantee you, kid, you 28-year-old, I'm 57. I have hurt more fucking people. I have made more fucking mistakes. I have let down more fucking people than you will in 12 fucking lifetimes. I was a preacher's kid. I stole more shit. I jumped more trains. I broke into people's fucking houses.
Vandalized.
I fucking vandalized. I fucking stole money. All right?
Me too.
Yeah, man. I never got into drugs. That wasn't really my thing. But all that other shit, oh, fuck yeah. Preacher's kids are the worst. At least this one was. My 5 siblings were great, but I wasn't. All right? So that doesn't in and of itself make a teenager boy or girl or, non-binary. It doesn't make you a bad person. All right? Just means you're a fucking hellion. Okay? We outgrow that stage. We realize, okay, this probably isn't the most functional way to go about life. I think I'll change professions from criminal to, well, I don't know, storekeep. Okay, but the point is, back then, she's on you. She's saying, stop it, you little shit. Stop having your fucking temper tantrum, blah, 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 blah. She's calling you all these fucking names. As you say, she was verbally abusive, telling me I'm dumb and a worthless piece of shit on multiple occasions. Okay. And dad was checked out of your life. Okay.
I did have my little sister's dad that I thought was my dad for a while.
Okay. I want to stay on this point though. So
Okay.
by 5 years old, you hate yourself 20%. What I'm willing to bet is you had been getting these messages from your mom long before you were 5 years old. To the point where you're 5 now and you're hating on yourself. So now her voice is fucking internalized and you hate yourself. So in other words, and so you have your whole life been trying to figure out what is it that's wrong with me. And remember, maybe you've heard me say this before on the show, a child when they're young believes, I don't know where it comes from, it just happens. A child believes mom and dad are good, mom and dad love me.
Yeah.
They just do. Therefore, if I'm not getting that love, I'm the problem. Something's wrong with me. It's my fault. Something is wrong with me because mom and dad are good. Mom and dad love me. But there's a problem with that theory in your fucking case. Mom's not good. Dad's not good. There is no definition of good. There is no definition of love, none, under which calling a child a worthless piece of shit and dumb fits. If you have taught a child to hate themselves 20% by the time they're 5, you're not a good parent. You're a disgusting fucking piece of shit parent. That's fucking disgusting. I will go in my city here. I will go on the streets of New York City and I will interview 100 people. And I will get 100 responses in the affirmative. Sven, yes, that is disgusting piece of shit parenting. And I will say, what must be wrong with the child that they're having a temper tantrum? And they'd say, Sven, are you a fucking idiot? And I'd say, yes, I am. But what must be wrong with the child? Nonetheless, they say, nothing. Children have temper tantrums. What do you say to the child? Do you say, you're a bad boy? No, you say, you're not a bad boy. You just did a bad thing. Just relax. And you give the child attention because the child is wanting love. If a child can't get positive attention, they'll settle for negative attention. Why? Because negative attention beats the fuck out of no attention, because no attention means you don't exist. I don't see you. You're sharing yourself in these relationships because you so want someone to see you, see your pain, see your hurt, and stay. We all want to be seen for who we really are, right? Of course, the scary part of that is then I have to show who I really fucking am. Oh, fuck me, right? Yeah. But then you ain't leave me. And that's the risk. That's that vulnerability thing. So yeah, you've been taught that you're a fucking piece of shit. So then when you say, I want to confront them, but I can't bring up the courage. Yeah, I get that. You want to call them out on the shit, but you can't bring up the courage because imagine all the shit they could say or do, and we'll come right back to that. But then you say, I'm so filled with rage sometimes. No shit. You've been taught hatred towards yourself. Their voices are in you. See, even if mom and dad both fucking died tomorrow, their voices are so fucking implanted inside your fucking melon, antagonize you from the inside until those voices come out of you. You will not be free. You'll be fighting those voices. And one of the definitions of depression is anger turned inward. You have so much anger, justified. You teach a child to hate themselves. You teach a child to loathe themselves. You call a child names? What? Why? Why? No, there is no why. You just don't do that. You would never do that to your daughter. You, this person who was abused as a child, even you know you don't do that. Even somebody that would actually be justified in abusing a child, someone who was abused, you know not to do that. Right? Yeah. It's painfully obvious. You don't fucking do that to a child. And the mere fact that you're concerned about not hurting your daughter, the mere fact that you're not doing that shit says you're already an infinite better parent. So certainly than your father, because you're involved in your daughter's life, and certainly than your mother. Dude, you're doing great. And the mere fact that you've already expressed that you're learning in your relationships and so forth says you are a person who's not afraid to look at what they've been doing and changing. That's an indicator of growth. You can be reading books. You're reading Love Cup. That's an indicator of deliberateness. Single biggest thing you can do to become a better parent is to heal your own past. Nothing will impact your daughter more than your own past. And you already see that correlation. you reading the book and doing the exercise in the book will have the biggest impact on this. But I want to go back to this one sentence you said, and we've got just a few minutes left here. I want to confront them, but I can't bring up the courage. I want to ask you two questions. One, why do you want to confront them? I'm not saying you should. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just curious why you want to.
Because I want them to know the wrongs that they have done.
And the reason you want them to know the wrongs that they have done is what? What's the real reason?
So that way they could be a better person. So that way they could maybe realize what they have done wrong, realize how they have hurt me.
And by realize, you mean what?
Acknowledge.
There you go. Not just realize it in their own fucking head. You want them to acknowledge how they've hurt you, what they've done wrong. And if they acknowledge how they have hurt you and what they have done wrong, then what? What changes in your outside of you or inside of you if they were to acknowledge how they've hurt you and what they've done wrong? Then what? What changes?
Maybe they might feel some sort of sympathy.
And if they felt sympathy, then what? Then what changes outside of you or inside of you? What changes? Then what?
Maybe I won't feel so heavy all the time.
And if you didn't feel so heavy, then what?
Maybe I would enjoy being here more.
And if you enjoyed being here more, then what? You're doing great. Just keep going. Then what?
Then I could be the person my daughter needs me to be more.
Okay. And then what?
Then maybe I wouldn't think about so often.
About what?
About leaving so often.
And then what? You're not feeling heavy. You're the better parent to your daughter. You wouldn't think about leaving. Then what? What changes outside of you or inside of you? You finally got that acknowledgement and you're lighter. Then what?
And the world will be brighter than I don't know.
Yeah, the world will be lighter. And what? Just keep going. You're doing fine. I'm not fishing for a particular answer. I'm just saying the world would be brighter and what? How would that feel? How about that? And how would that feel? Give me a feeling word.
Relieving?
Yeah. Maybe even happy or peaceful.
Peace? Yes.
Peace would be
definitely
nice.
feel peaceful.
That motor inside wouldn't be constantly fucking running all that shit. Right. So you're fundamentally telling me that I need them to acknowledge what they've done. By acknowledging what they've done, what they're fundamentally saying is we see you. We see your reality. We see what we've done to you, and we acknowledge it was bad. And if they get through an apology and meant it, that would be huge too. That's confirmation of your existence and your worth. The very thing they took from you as early as 3 or 4 or 5 to the point, right? So you are of the belief that they and only they hold the keys to the jail cell you've been imprisoned in. The jail cell of self-loathing, that you are the problem. You're a fucking piece of shit. Go fuck yourself. You're a fucking loser, dumbass, cunt. Fuck you. And I need them to confront. I need them to see it and change. The problem is, even if you confront them, if they don't give you that, that's the scary part. See, the fear in confronting them isn't just that they'll deny, deflect, defend. The fear is that they're denying the acknowledgement. They're denying your reality. They're denying your existence. They are doubling down on the very thing they've done the whole time. You don't fucking matter, kiddo. We don't give a fuck. Fuck you. It's confirmation of what they've been saying the entire fucking time. That's what you're scared of. Right? Right.
Yeah.
Now,
them not to hear me.
And not hear you, or to hear you and not give a shit.
Yeah.
Right. Right. That's a big roll of the dice. I always tell people you can confront whoever the fuck you want to confront. But if you're doing it because you want something in return, then you're giving that person power over you. You're giving them the power to make you fucking miserable. Because anytime I want something from someone, they have the power to make me miserable by withholding it. Now, if you're just doing it because I want to say it, and quite frankly, what you do with it, whether you acknowledge it, don't acknowledge it, I don't care. I just need to say it. Well, that's different. because then I'm not wanting something in response. But what you are fundamentally wanting from your parents is something that you have a 28-year pattern from them indicating they have no intention of ever giving it. You are wanting confirmation of your worth from the very people who stole it from you. And I understand that longing. That is almost every single one of my clients. And the way you most give that, the truth is you can give that to yourself. And the way you give that to yourself ain't gratitude lists and shit like that. It's going down deep inside of you and beginning to look at and feel and acknowledge and allow out all of those boxes upon boxes of all of those real feelings that 5-year-old you, 9-year-old you, 13-year-old you, 17-year-old you, 21-year-old you, and 25-year-old you felt, all boxes and boxes inside that vault of all of your authentic feelings. And all of that needs to come out, because if you don't give that child his voice, and you don't have to say it to your parents. I don't need anyone to actually confront the parent. If you want to, you can, but I don't need you to confront them. What I need you to do is to begin to welcome those out, because those are your authentic responses to what was done to you. You're giving that child that voice. You're setting that child free of all the burden of all those feelings that they had to fucking pack down and weren't allowed to feel. But simultaneously, that child is introducing you to someone you've never known before. And that person he's introducing you to is your authentic self, because those are your authentic responses. What you weren't allowed to feel, certainly not allowed to say. And that is all the natural feeling responses. Like, fuck you, old woman. Who are you to, I'm a child. Leave me alone. Just be nice to me. Just love me. Why won't you love me? I'll do anything. Just be nice to me. All those feelings, the rage, the hatred, the sadness, the loathing, the disappointment, the betrayal, the frustration, the melancholy, all those feelings, you had to just pack that shit down. And all of it just went, got turned in on that 8-year-old, 11-year-old, 14-year-old, 20-year-old. All of it.
I've already written them so many letters too.
Right. And did you send them?
No.
Okay. Is there any
No,
relief?
they all live in my notebooks.
Right on. And is there any relief from that?
In the moment, but then it all comes back still.
And there's more. And there's more. You've got a lifetime of self-loathing, a lifetime of anger and sadness. Just keep going into the book and doing the journaling exercises in the book. You have to, because that's going to lead you into it, and it's going to help you understand the structure of what's been going on. But you have to keep going into that shit, no matter how fucking painful it is, because here's the bottom line. If you allow for the possibility that that 5-year-old boy that was Aldo, you allow for the possibility that maybe something was wrong with him, that he was a piece of shit, then you have to allow for the possibility that your 9-year-old daughter is a piece of shit. Because if one child can be a piece of shit, then 2 children can be a piece of shit. It's just the law of odds. Now, I think you would be the first person to say that's fucking impossible. There's no way, my daughter, right?
Children are innocent.
Children are innocent. But as soon as you say that, that means 5-year-old Aldo, 9-year-old Aldo, even troublemaking, hell-raising 14-year-old Aldo, he was a good boy. He was sweet. He was kind. He was beautiful. He was smart. He was rambunctious. He was ornery when he didn't get his nap, steal an extra cookie if he could get one. He was a normal, beautiful child.
Why didn't I get the love that every child?
They were shitty parents. There was not a goddamn thing wrong with you. The reason the child didn't get the love is because mom and dad didn't love you and they weren't good. There was not one thing wrong with the child. There never was, and there isn't today. You are a good person. You have always been a good person. They fed you a load of shit that was never true from the beginning. And you believing that now is you insulting that 7-year-old boy. You silencing that 7-year-old boy is you doing it now. It's not them now. Now it's you. Now it's you telling that 7-year-old boy, sorry, peckerhead, your feelings don't fucking matter. Shut the fuck up. They were right. No, you have a responsibility now to go back to that 9-year-old, that 5-year-old and say, come here, Phil, I got you. Ain't nobody going to fucking hurt you again. I got you. I'm getting you out of here. You let all those tears out, fella. I got you. Let the tears out. Let the rage out. I got you. Ain't nobody going to hurt you now. Ain't nobody going to hurt you now. I got you, kiddo. Come on, let's go. Get your favorite toys, get your favorite dinosaur. Get those Barney books that you like and fucking Teletubbies and whatever. Get your tapes, let's go. Grab your Nintendo. Come on, let's go. There wasn't a damn thing wrong with you. And there still isn't. It was a fucking lie. All right, Aldo, thanks for being on the show. I hope you'll stick around to the end.
Of course.
All right. Rob, take us to commercial.
I had a really good start in my life, and I've been successful in my career, but I have to say I've learned so much and improved my outlook on life since I met Sven and picked up a copy of Badass Wisdom. With the daily meditations as journaling prompts, I've uncovered a lot of memories that weren't totally pleasant. With Sven's guidance, I've achieved some new understanding, and honestly, I feel lighter. Badass Wisdom is a great read, in nice small bites, and I think anyone can benefit from it. So go to badasscounseling.com and get the book or the audiobook. It could change your life.
This show provides soul counseling intended to entertain and inform and is not medical advice. Now, back to the badass.
And we are back. Exciting opening to the show. Aldo opening up on some really deep stuff, and we're not taking the foot off the gas. Rob, would you please tell us about Griffith?
Certainly, Sven. Griffith wrote in and said, I come from a dysfunctional family. My parents divorced when I was 7, and by 16 I chose to live with one parent full-time. The other was struggling with their own experiences with generational trauma, and on some level I knew I didn't want to continue that cycle. Few people fully knew my story. Most of my family remains unaware of what I've experienced. Recently, I've shared part of my truth with the parent I'm distant from and a grandparent, as they've made it clear they don't understand or accept the distance I created. I've come to terms with the fact that reconnection is unlikely. Without acknowledging how trauma has shaped them, they can't truly grasp how their actions and words have affected me. I've realized I no longer wish to rebuild those relationships, something I've long been afraid to admit. Now, as I step into adulthood, I cherish the small community of people I have in my life. My art career is taking shape in exciting ways, and I'm deeply grateful for these opportunities. Yet, despite my passion and drive, I struggle to feel a sense of pride. Intellectually, I recognize my ups, but emotionally, there's a disconnect, like something is blocking me from experiencing joy. I'm coming into this session with an open mind and a willingness to explore. Trauma has made expressing my truth a slow process, but I'm here, ready to dive in.
Griffith, it's great to have you on the show.
Thank you, Sven.
You bet. You said that I'm coming in this session with an open mind, willingness to explore. Trauma has made expressing my truth a slow process, but I'm here and ready to dive in. Excellent. Grab my hand, and we're going to dive into the deepest of the deep end together, okay?
That sounds great.
Great. Then when you say few people fully know my story, what is the single biggest piece of your life that the fewest amount of people know? In one sentence or less, what are we talking about?
Mainly going to school, because a lot of this would happen in childhood. Going to school, I would come across one way, and I'd go home to that sense of false confidence completely being the complete polar opposite of what it was presented as.
Okay. And I would come across how at school?
Confident, excited, kind of like jovial, especially in high school. I tried to kind of be a support system for a lot of the people I came across.
And then you'd get home, and what would happen?
With one particular parent, I was basically at the beck and whim of everything that they wanted, especially when there was a partner introduced at the time. Anything that partner wanted to do, all of my anything I wanted to do as a kid or as a teenager was completely null. And it was, the partner was prioritized 24/7.
And the underlying message being sent to the child, the teen child, when you're at the beck and call of the parent, and now the partner steps in and the partner is the only thing that matters, and you're sort of forgotten, the underlying message being sent to the child is what, in one sentence or less?
The phrase children should be seen and not heard.
Mm-hmm. And what does that tell you? What does that tell the child about their worth if they're not to be if they're to be seen but not heard? And you know what? Sometimes we don't even really care if we see you. What is that child telling that teenager about their worth?
That there isn't any.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So by whenever that parent is bringing partners home and introducing and so forth, or at least has them in their life, and you're getting the message you don't have any worth, when did you start receiving that message?
5th grade.
5th grade.
So like 11, 12.
Okay. And so this is not teenage years even. This is preteen. Okay. And so you're getting that message of no worth. Okay. And so you said, I shared part of my truth with that parent I'm distant from and a grandparent. What was the reason? And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that can be quite good. What was the reason you chose to share your truth with a parent and grandparent?
Recently, I had an event or two happen that these two people found out through social media and not through my direct communication. And they were not fans of that. They thought they should have heard it from the horse's mouth. And due to the distance, I let them know I was initially, I'm like, everyone found out through this method. But their reaction to these events were really poor. Took it as an opportunity to basically emotionally slap me in the face. And I haven't been talking to them like consistently for 6 years. It's been my father who I'm distant from and his mother. His mother, I've had an on and off relationship trying to keep some semblance of what was there in hopes that the distance would create healing. And this is now 6 years later since that kind of cut, or more than 6 years since I've separated. And due to that message, or due to the messages I received, I was like, I waited this long in holding how I felt in. So I just decided to let it out through like a voice memo.
And it went how, basically?
No, I got no response.
Got it. And so I've come to terms with the fact that reconnection is unlikely. Without acknowledging how the trauma has shaped them, they can't truly grasp their actions and words have affected me. I've realized that I no longer wish to rebuild those relationships, something I've long been afraid to admit. You sort of said two different things there. I've come to terms with the fact that reconnection is unlikely. Then you later say, I've realized I no longer wish to rebuild those relationships. You almost seem to be saying that it's unlikely, which implies I kind of hope for it a little bit. And then you say, I no longer wish to rebuild those. You can understand my confusion. So which is more accurate?
It's people pleasing. I don't.
At all. Zero. Okay, now let's just continue to play with this a little bit. You're doing great. Is it that I don't want it, or I just don't believe it's possible?
I think the latter has been true for a long time. And then as of the last few years, it's been the former.
That you don't, at this point, you don't want it.
At this point, yeah. It's been long enough. And I've kind of settled into, I don't want it anymore.
And the main reason I don't want it anymore is because what?
I want peace. I want to be able to allow myself to experience life unconditionally and not feel like I have to return to this constant source of pain.
Okay. And you said, I've realized I no longer wish to rebuild those relationships, something I've long been afraid to admit. Why have you been afraid to admit that I no longer wish to rebuild those relationships?
Growing up, a lot of the time when I would express my feelings, they weren't, on a good day, they weren't acknowledged. On a bad day, spun around and thrown at me. And so something that feels as big as this to me, and that holds this amount of my truth in it, it feels so vulnerable to share something like that with them that I think there's a fear of that. There was a fear where it's like, how is this going to be spun back at me again?
Sure.
How is this going to be twisted?
That's fair. Let me ask you this. Because you said, I no longer wish to rebuild those relationships, and it's something I've been afraid to admit. Has part of the fear in admitting that I don't want to rebuild those relationships anymore, when I was talking with Aldo, there was this notion of confronting the parent, hoping that there would be acknowledgement. And then that would lead to a sort of either a rebuilding of the relationship or at least some sort of healing inside of me. And so what I'm wondering is, has it been hard to admit that I no longer wish to rebuild those relationships? Is that because if I admit that and that there's really no hope of rebuilding the relationship, then there's no hope of me sort of getting that reconnection and that sense of them valuing me, them granting me my worth. That if I actually let go of that reconnection, I'm fucked. They're not going to express my worth. And I've been wanting that my whole entire fucking life. Thoughts?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And so,
100%.
So what do you do then, Griffith? What do you do when you are now saying there's no hope of them confirming my worth? These very fucking people who took my worth by denying my reality or turning my feelings back on me when I was a child from a young age. What do you do if you know now they're never going to fucking change and acknowledge what they've done to me and confirm my worth? Now what?
I have like two answers.
Go ahead.
Like the first one is I listen. I guess I do my best to have other people's perspectives and thoughts have more volume and hold more weight. And I try to listen to them more. It's still challenging because negativity is louder sometimes. And then I think also, I think I've been white knuckling the situation for so long that the release gets uncomfortable.
The release of what?
The fact that any semblance of, they'll turn around. The fact that I just have to let go of that completely.
Right. And the idea of letting go is a great idea, but the execution, well, how the fuck do I do that?
Yeah.
What does that even mean? That's a different thing. 'Cause it's like, yeah, I'd like to, but what do I just say? Click my heels 3 times and say, I let go of ye, I let go of ye, I let go of ye, ye are released. No, that doesn't fucking work. So what do I do? But what you said initially was, I have other people's thoughts and feelings sort of hold weight over that. Implies that I'm taking those other people, and you mentioned that, in your sort of, I cherish the small community of people I have in my life. In a small community, it's interesting how we can have a small community of friends. I had this when I first moved out to LA, and they can become closer than family. That's a profoundly gratifying experience. And I'm not just talking about a lover, but a group of friends who become love. No, I get that. I totally get that.
Yeah.
But the way you phrase it is having others' thoughts and feelings hold weight over implies there's this large weight in my life, in me, that I have to sort of turn up the volume on these other people's. In other words, you're fighting against yourself. You got one foot on the accelerator and one foot on the brake, and you can't seem to get rid of the goddamn brake that's breaking your life, which you reference then later in your write-up. You say, I struggle to feel a sense of pride. Intellectually, I recognize my ups, but emotionally, there's a disconnect. Like something is blocking me from experiencing joy. Right. You've got some sort of internal fucking prohibitor, some internal dead fucking weight that is dragging you the fuck down. And you're having to constantly hit override of the negative voices, A, and B, sort of add some helium or something to get past this fucking blockage or heavy weight. Am I somewhat in the ballpark?
Absolutely, yeah.
Right. Go ahead.
It's like the weight of all of the things that happened to me, and it's that and the fact that I haven't told that many people. And just to quickly sprinkle, it's basically everything but sexual abuse is what I've been through with that specific parent. And so I think it's having to, I recognize it's like I'm going at two different speeds is what it feels like. And I'm just like kind of going like this. And it's like, I'm moving forward, but there's like a part of me that's tethered and stuck because it's like stuck in mud, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And is the part that's stuck in mud, it's stuck in mud because fundamentally what, in one sentence or less?
I think I'm stuck in mud because, or that part of me stuck because I think wanting help when I was younger and not receiving it, it's hard to pull myself out.
So wanting help and not receiving it, now it's hard to pull myself out. What's the correlation between wanting help and not receiving it back then and being sort of stuck now and not being able to? And now, what's the correlation between that experience of wanting help then and what's going on now?
I think it's being able to, I think it's the difficulty that I encounter with like giving back to myself.
And why? And the main reason you have difficulty giving back to yourself is what?
The fact that there were a lot of times in life where I wasn't given to, but shown I was worth being given to.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So the underlying message being conveyed to the child is fundamentally what, in one sentence or less, roughly?
Of like, you don't matter.
Exactly. You're a piece of shit. You don't fucking matter. Shut the fuck up. Who the fuck are you? Why are you even talking? Just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Right? And you said, you got everything except the sexual abuse, right? So you got the physical, you got the verbal from that one parent, not from the other, at least not the physical. Okay, right?
Nothing from the other.
Right. But it doesn't take a lot, does it?
No.
Right. It takes one. And this is really interesting because this is something I tell people. Well, so many people say, well, I mean, somebody listening to the show could say, well, Griffith didn't have what Aldo had. So what's Griffith complaining about? Well, it's bullshit. Yeah. The way I think of it is this. Today was my gym day. And on gym day, I make myself a big old fucking breakfast burrito at 4:30 in the morning, right? Okay. But I skip gym day. Normally on gym day, I'd make a big fucking burrito and there'd be like fucking bacon and shit. And I'd have so much fucking oil in that pan, hot, scalding oil. Now imagine I take that fucking pan. And let's say I did the whole pack of bacon because I'm going to eat it later, right? Put it on a grilled cheese or some shit. And I take that pan of hot, scalding pan and I got an oven mitt on. And then in my other hand, I got an oven mitt on and I got a pair of metal tongs. Okay. And in the metal tongs, I have a simple white styrofoam cup. Like you might get coffee in at some picnic, okay? And I go out over my trash can outside, and I take that pan, but I only pour in 3 drops, just drop, 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 of hot scalding. It would burn your fucking skin off. And I drop it into the bottom of that white styrofoam cup. What's going to happen to the bottom of that white styrofoam cup?
Oh, it just disintegrates.
Right. There'll be a hole in the bottom, right? Right.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun. So I'm going to pour in a teaspoon, just a teaspoon, into that bottom of the cup. Then what happens to the rest of that bottom of the cup?
Oh, it's just gone.
Right, right. Well, now it's like, well, okay, well, fucking A, let's try the whole fucking thing. And then I just pour the whole fucking pan in there, man. Then what happens to the cup?
It's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Right.
Yeah.
A child's precious little soul is that styrofoam cup. Styrofoam cups actually can handle heat. Isn't that interesting? They can handle hot coffee. But you drop in some really hot shit, burn a hole right through the bottom. Drop in a teaspoonful, burns that bottom out. You pour in a whole bunch, it burns out the whole cup. But it doesn't matter. After a certain amount, after a few drops, that cup is fucked. The cup is fucked. I mean, pour on tons more. It's fucked either way. The cup is fucked. So when people say, well, my parents didn't, fucking sexually molest you, they didn't have to. The damage was done when they when they didn't acknowledge your feelings, when they turned your feelings back around on you, Griffith.
Yeah.
When they made you feel bad, when you were being a supportive, loving person. at school, and you had friends who valued you and treated you well, and they made you feel bad for that.
Yeah.
The damage was done.
Like, in work I've done, like trying to make some sense of it I was told this by that parent where, well, it was my dad, like he experienced very similar treatment to what I got due to alcoholism. And he told me when I was like 11 or 12, like, I don't want us to become like my dad. Like, he would put it on me, like, I don't want our relationship to be like what I had with my dad. And I think he kind of had this path of like a self-fulfilling prophecy where him being afraid to become his dad, he started out of fear, not out of like diligence. He ended up just spiraling into fear and
when
anxiety
you said
about
he put it on me, what precisely did he put on you? In what way?
We would have a lot, especially like he had multiple partners, and after every partner I would get like an apology of some kind because he would have some recognition of what went wrong. And then at the age of like 11, 13, 15, I'd be like coaching him on how to make it better.
Oh, fuck. You were so, and do you know why you were coaching him on why to make it better, or on how to make it better? Do you know why a child does that?
Why?
Well, you were going to say something. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No. And no, I don't know why. That's something I've been like trying to figure out.
Yeah, no, I get adults who, when they were 3 years old, they were listening to all of mommy's problems. When they were 7, little girl daddy, was complaining because mommy left, ran off with the butcher or the baker or the candlestick maker. Now daddy's alone, and just his only source of love is his daughter. And you want to know why? Or the little kid becomes a family comedian to lighten everybody up, or whatever it is. You want to know why? Because the child, somewhere in the child doesn't think it in the front of their brain. It's operating somewhere inside them. First of all, children love parents more than parents love children. I talk about it in the book, and anybody who's ever had a child says to me, that's fucking stupid, Sven. There's no way my child loves me more than I love my child. And when you've had children, you realize it sounds pretty fucking stupid until I reverse it. And I say, a child will withstand more pain at the hands of a parent, than a parent would ever withstand at the hands of that same child.
Yep.
Okay. So anyway, the point is, we naturally want to make the ones we love feel better. Your friends, your lover, your child, your parent. Okay, so there's that natural instinct, but then there's also this. This is why perhaps Robin Williams becomes the Joker in the family, or the family clown, or the one who's always taking care of everyone else, always taking care of mommy, always at the beck and call, or beck and whim, as you called it, of the parent. Why? Because if I can make mommy feel better, if I can make daddy feel better or lighten up, and not always be the angry drunk, or not always be dumping his problems, or not always be sad, if I can make them happy, then they'll go back to giving me love.
Yeah.
Then I'll get my needs met. So I need to fix them, because then I can get love. You said at school, I was basically taking care of other people. You had learned it at home. That if I want to get love, basically the best shot I have is to help others, and then maybe someone will give me love. Relationship camel, as I talk about in the book, there's a hole in my love cup. That if I give, then maybe I'll get some in return. But I have to give this much in order to get maybe a little bit in return. Now, you're tearing up a bit, it looks like. What are you feeling? What's going on inside of you right now, Griffith?
I just haven't had that said to me.
What haven't you had said to you in one sentence or less?
That it's like a coping mechanism.
And even more than that.
Yeah.
It's a mechanism for getting love. It's a way that child believes somehow they figure it out. If I give, there's a chance of me getting love back. So rather than the parent being a waterfall of love that's just always flowing, Even when they're scolding me and saying, hey, Sven, you're not a dumb person. You just did a dumb thing. Or Sven, you're not a bad person. You did a bad thing. You need to go take a time out.
Yeah.
But I still know I'm loved. The love's not in question. I'm just being, punished for something bad that I did, but I'm still loved. So rather than the parent being a waterfall of love, maybe the parent is a vending machine. So I got to put in a couple of quarters before, like back in the 70s, we had cigarette vending machines. You put in, a couple of quarters, you get your pack of Pall Malls out of there, right? Yeah. Okay, but I got to always be putting something in order to get something out. Or worse, they're a slot machine. Pumping them in all these goddamn quarters, pulling the arm. Did I win something? No, pumping in more quarters, pulling. Did I win? Did I get some love? No. You never know if you're going to fucking get it.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And then the other one is where it's just bone fucking dry, and it doesn't matter what you put in. It's just like, there's no hope of getting shit, right? And then there's, right. And then there's the fucking parent where you pump in quarters and a big fucking fist reaches out and punches you in the face. Then there's just that one, no matter. So there are any number of derivatives, but the bottom line is, yes, you were wanting, if I can fix dad, then there's a chance of me getting love. And dad, see, and this raises an interesting question. Let me ask you this, from your experience, Griffith, in life, which is worse? There's no universal answer. This is just your experience. Everybody could answer differently. Which is worse? To have a love cup and the parent never gives love at all, or to have a parent who gives some love, but then also gives some shit messages and stuffs in crap, and then gives some love, bit of love, but then sticks in more crap. Shitty messages, pain. Which for you personally is worse? The no love or the love with the shit and the love with the shit?
I think it's the love with the shit, because if you didn't get anything, you wouldn't know the difference.
That's fair.
At least for me.
That's fair. And you know what? The other effect of that is, and you're not the first person that I've had say that to me over the decades, and the other effect of that is then you get into a relationship when you're, let's say, as an adult, okay? Then if someone is just loving, you don't know what to do, and you almost don't even fucking trust it.
Yeah.
So this is like, whoa, this is weird. And you're like, okay, when's the shit going to happen? And when they are shitty to you, then rather than holding them up to it and saying, that's not okay, you're like, oh, okay, now I'm comfortable. Okay, now we're back in the comfort zone. You're being a fuckhead. Okay. Okay, now this is familiar turf. Okay, here we go. Versus, hey, dude, don't fucking do that shit to me. That's not okay. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so then back to this notion of the blockage inside of you. If you were to drill down and put it in one sentence or less, what fundamentally is blocking you inside? What inside of you is the fundamental thing that you were taught about yourself that is blocking you from experience, from feeling, from having this an emotional connection to your work that you sound very proud of and good about, and an emotional connection to life and joy and so forth? What would you guess is causing your emotional disconnect?
It almost feels like I'm not allowed to.
Because, in one sentence or less, why is little Griffith, back to when you were a little one, why was little Griffith not allowed to? Because
I wasn't allowed to, and I'm not allowing myself now.
Take your time.
That's a thing.
There's no rush.
You.
There's no rush. Just start with one or the other if that would be easier.
Yeah. I think, can you say it one more time?
Yeah. Why are you not allowed to feel joy now? Why do you not give yourself permission now? Or why did you not have permission to feel joy then? Or who wouldn't give you permission to feel joy then? Or what was in the way of you feeling joy then?
Because there's I was taught that other people's came before me, and I'm not allowed to experience that unless someone else is.
And who is the person at the top of the list that needs to experience joy before you get to? Who is at top of the list? Is it just whoever the other person is in your life, or is there just one person in particular?
When I was a kid, it was my dad. now it's become a collective thing.
And the collective is?
Anybody.
Huh. So you're fucked. Basically, until the whole world is happy, I can't be happy. I'm not allowed.
Yeah, like in a way, yeah, like my proximity community.
Okay,
yes.
in your proximity community, right? So you're at the bottom of the shit list, basically, right? And so let me ask you this: what is the thing that sucks the very most about you, Griffith? I mean, come on, moment of truth here. Be fucking honest with me. What sucks the most? What do you hate about yourself so fucking much?
Oh, I'm a pushover.
Okay. Do you have any friends who are pushovers?
No.
Not a one.
Not really.
Is pushover a hateable offense? If you had a friend who was a pushover, would you fucking loathe them for it?
No. No, I would tell them why that doesn't do them any good.
So you'd love them anyway.
Yeah. And I would make sure that I recognize that part of them, and I would be sure that if I had a friend that was a pushover, I'd recognize that I'd be really mindful about that with them.
Are you? Let's boil it down to brass tacks, Griffith.
Yeah.
What percent, if you were to be totally honest, do you love you? If you'd be really honest.
I think 35, 40.
And just in case it's different, maybe it's not. What percent do you like you? Maybe it's not different. I don't know. Some people draw a distinction.
No. Yeah. No, I hear you. I think I like myself 50.
Okay. And
yeah.
What is the single biggest reason you don't love yourself? The remaining roughly 60%.
I don't know if I would say I don't love. It's almost like nothing. It's like a void. It's like an emptiness. And it's been hard to put a feeling to that because...
Put a feeling to it. You said it's hard, but you didn't say impossible. So it's hard.
Yeah.
So do the hard thing. Put a feeling to it so that I and everyone listening can understand. Help us understand you, please, Griffith.
Yeah.
Put a feeling to the other 60%. What does it feel like?
I don't know if this is helpful. Almost like a ghost. It's this I guess othering or neglect or this dismissal, because I wouldn't say it's hate, but it could be hate disguised. I'm not clear on that part.
What is the biggest thing about you most dismissed your entire life?
How something would make me feel.
What's that?
And it's how something would make me feel, and maybe allowing myself to, or being allowed to. One more time for me, please. I'm sorry.
Right. I was just asking, what's the one part of you that's been most neglected your entire life? Or what have you most neglected about you your entire life since leaving them? What's the one biggest part of you don't want to touch, or is too scary, or is too painful, or that you feel guilty elevating and no longer neglecting, but rejoicing?
Experiencing some amount of success or being proud of steps I've taken.
What's the fear of experiencing success and pride? What's the fear?
That it's going to be turned against me and misperceived.
Right.
And I'm going to be looked at like an asshole.
Right. Turned against you and misperceived. Right. I have clients in their 50s who go through the same thing, and so they've always avoided success, even though they're quite capable and have deliberately pulled back from it, and they've regretted the entire time. They're fighting the exact same demons that you're fighting right now.
Yeah.
That pulling back from the very thing because they fear success, because they had their success robbed from them when they were kids, or they were mocked by a sibling or by a parent, or they were put down, or they were told, well, the judges, they weren't very good, or, the other team was having an off day, or whatever it might have been, right? Anything to undermine your happiness. Let me ask you this, though. I understand you're afraid. I understand that. When you've gone through that in your past, would completely understand why you would feel that. I didn't experience that, so I don't know what that's like, but I can certainly understand it. Let me ask you this, though. But if you were being honest, just with you and me, are you proud of what you've done?
So far, like, to a degree, yeah.
What are you most proud of?
Like following what young me wanted to do, and like, not dismissing that one thing.
Do you know, like, that's like 85%, 80% of the population doesn't have the courage to do that. If I could get 80% of my clientele to do that one thing, 80% of my clientele would be 80% happier. You should be goddamn proud of that.
And it's hard because I think a part of me experiencing that is like, I recognize to an extent the distance that's taken to get to here.
Yep.
But I've received sometimes reactions where I'll express like, oh my God, this happened.
Yeah.
And I'm met with sometimes like,
Right. No reaction. Bland.
None.
Right. And in a way,
and I'm like,
go ahead. And
I'm just like, I won't do that again.
Right. And that's exactly what Aldo was saying in his love relationships. Not exactly the same, but similar, where he's opening up, sharing, and the response is, in your case, a big nothing burger. And in his response, it gets sort of turned against them, which was what you were getting when you were young. Holy fuck. Symbiosis, or, fucking similar experiences there. Exactly. But do you guys understand what you're both fucking missing? What you're both fucking missing is that the action of putting it out there, saying how you feel, saying what you want, saying what you're proud of, going after, pursuing the paths of your authentic self. Or in Aldo's case, putting his past out there, that is an act of self-affirmation. That is an act of self-love. Before they give you the love from externally, you're putting it out there, is saying, I am good. I value me. I value my story. I have the courage to go after who I am. In Aldo's case, look at my story. I've been through this. Wow, I'm impressed. Aren't you impressed? And they say, no, I'm not. You're telling me I'm bad. And you're like, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. This is a goddamn impressive story. Aldo's saying, and what you're doing, in your case, Griffith, is I'm going after this fucking dream. Do you see what I've done? And they're like, bleh. And you're like, hey, Dumbo, wake up. You're not fucking doing it. I am. The mere fact that you guys are putting this shit out there is a statement of self-worth. And you only believe it has worth if you get that positive response in return. Wrong. That would be nice. And it may be a long time before you ever get that. But the mere act of doing it is your own statement to the world, I matter. Do you see that? You wouldn't put it the fuck out there unless you believed there was value in what you are putting out there. You wouldn't believe, in Aldo's case, you wouldn't put it out there unless you saw that there was value and you were wanting confirmation of the value, but you're already confirming it by even putting it out there. You're saying, I believe there's something here. Do you see it? You're wanting that confirmation, and confirmation feels fucking great. It feels validating. Or in your case, Griffith, you're saying, I believe in this fucking path. You've already self-confirmed. Yes, it would be nice to get it from someone. And it does feel nice to get it from your friends. Yes, it would be nice to get it from the very people who stole your sense of worth. Yes, everybody wants that. And occasionally a rare person gets it. But the mere fact that you're doing it is your own self-confirmation. It is you healing your own fucking love cup. It is you pouring in love into your own motherfucking love cup. You're already doing it. So the simple fucking truth of the matter is, fuck, you fuckers don't need my help. You're already healing yourselves. You don't even fucking see it. In your case, Griffith, you're already pursuing your path. You wouldn't be doing it if you didn't believe in you. And as far as you enjoying and feeling it, what you've got to get with your blockage is fear. So you need to be journaling the living fuck out of fear. I am afraid to open up and just enjoy it a little bit, not to mention a lot. I'm afraid, and fuck you, and write letters to the people who instilled this fear, letters you don't send. And all the feelings, feelings of longing, I wish you had, and I wish you hadn't stolen my worth, and I wish you had given me the love I want, and fuck you, and go fuck yourself, and I hate you so much, all of the feelings, flushing, and journaling on fear. I'm so afraid of doing this, and I'm afraid, and flushing out the fear. And then challenge yourself to feel a little bit good, just a little bit. Put your toe in the fucking water, just a toe. Start with that.
Okay.
And then a little, and keep flushing. And then maybe another little toe at some point, bit by bit, inch by inch, life's a cinch. But the most important thing is flushing out the shit. Okay. Now, in your case, Aldo, it's flushing out the shit, right? And it's continuing to, I want someone to love me. And you got to dive in, brother. You got to dive in on all the fucking rage. You got to unleash holy hell on them, like in ways you haven't yet. Because you're turning on yourself. And if you're going to say that little kid was at fault, then you got to look at your little daughter and say, you worthless piece of shit. Even if it's just in your own head. Because if the child that was you was bad, then you have to admit the possibility that she was bad. And for your sake as well, Griffith, if you're going to keep buying into their bullshit that you didn't deserve praise, well, then no other kid fucking deserves it. Because what made you so different? No, you were a beautiful, wonderful little kid. You were smart, you were creative, you were playful, you were ornery when you didn't have, a good lunch. You needed a nap. You didn't get your nap, you could be cranky, and then you were cute when you had your blankie, and you were just a wonderful little kid. Somebody stole that from you. That sweetness, that innocence. That's not okay. It's fucked up. You have every, not only right, but responsibility to go back and unleash all of that child's feelings and set that child free. And to fundamentally go back to your child, Griffith, that was you. Say, all right, I'm creating safe space around you. And we're going to fucking do the happy dance. The Snoopy happy dance? We're going to do the fucking happy dance, and we're going to celebrate. And I want you to go back. And I want you to write a letter to every age you were when you had a significant accomplishment. And I want you to go back and celebrate with that age boy, Griffith. Write him a letter of celebration and the extraordinary joy you feel for him. Because he's coming to you saying, please, can I celebrate? Is that okay? You're an adult. You're strong. Is it okay if I celebrate? And you're like, I got you, kiddo. I got you. All right. I'm going to create the safe space, and we're going to do the fucking happy dance. And we are going to celebrate, and I'm going to throw the biggest fucking party, and I'm going to invite my friends, and all of us adults are going to celebrate you, Mr. 12-year-old, because you are a success. I want you to write those letters to the past significant ages where you had markers that should have been celebrated, and you're going to write the letters of celebration to that boy. And everything, or that child, you're going to write those letters of celebration. And you're going to celebrate with that child. Because by you giving that child permission, you're healing that inner self, that blockage. You're giving yourself permission now by cleaning up what should have been done back then.
Yeah.
In one sort of final question for each of you, and that is just sort of, where are you at? Where are you at? I'm going to give it to you first, Aldo. Where are you at? We sort of went through the ringer with you. Where are you at inside? What's going on inside you?
kind of turmoil. Go from being kind of excited to scared
What's the
to
what's
guilt,
to guilt? And what's the single scariest thing in one sentence or less?
confronting the inner voices.
Yeah. And I don't need you to confront the living, breathing human being, but confronting those voices. But the truth is those voices were wrong. And the more you flush out those feelings at those fucking voices, the lighter you're going to become. And it does take courage. This is why you guys always hear me harping on courage. That is the linchpin of healing. And then also guilty. What's the biggest source of guilt in one sentence or less?
I feel guilt about not wanting to be here because I know how it will affect the people that I care about.
Yeah, and one in particular, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
And two, daughter and my grandma.
And your grandma, but especially your daughter. Your grandma will survive, but your daughter, that's right. She needs you to live. That means she needs you to confront those voices.
Yes.
That's right. To confront the voices.
I'm good at the letter writing, but the journaling, I always get like a writer's block. I don't know.
What you get is scared.
Yeah.
That's right. And that's okay. That's like 60% of my fucking clients right there. I had a client just today. He's had a certain assignment and he hasn't done it for about 2 months. And that's okay. When you're ready, you will. And what has to happen is your pain has to get bad enough. And your pain hasn't gotten bad enough yet. For as bad as it is, it hasn't gotten bad enough yet that you're willing to finally like, fuck it. Fuck it. I'm going to confront these fucking voices. And you said excited. What's the single biggest thing you're most excited about?
Excited to get everything out.
And you can do it. You got
excited to repair.
Yeah, and you can. There's hope, but you got to have the courage to do the work. You got to dive into that fucking book. You got to dive into that fucking book. And I'm telling you, I designed it for this. I had to pull myself out of a 12-year suicidal depression, all right? Is it because I'm some fucking guru, genius bullshit? No, I'm a regular person. But I created a bunch of tools and they fucking work, but you got to go into them, man. You got to bring the fucking balls, man. You got to do those journaling fucking exercises. And I know it's writer's block, scary shit. I know. That's the price of healing. It's facing the ugly shit. So what about you, Griffith? What's going on inside you? Where are you at?
There's relief that's there. And like relief plus discomfort. Because I think relief, because I'm able to like share a bit of what I've been through, which I don't do.
Mm-hmm.
And just the fact that like the abuse I've been through has been acknowledged, has been really nice because I don't get that frequently. And I think a bit the discomfort in like getting to a place in myself where I can genuinely be happy and not like front it. And the knowing that I have to find that. No, yeah, it's just the knowing of like having to find that and figuring out where to start.
No, you don't have to find it. You don't. It's right. It's underneath all the crud. It's
Okay.
like in springtime here in New England. I'm right outside of New York City, and in springtime, I have to have Clemente, my garden guy. He comes and he rakes off all the leaves and all the gunk and mud and snow and ice and shit off of my gardens. All that gunk, because if he doesn't, all those perennials won't grow. But if he does, the tulips and the jonquils and the crocuses and the daffodils and the lily of the valley, they grow up effortlessly. You don't have to go finding anything. Your authentic self is in you. Your natural expression of joy. Children naturally express joy. They naturally celebrate. All you got to do is be Clemente.
Yeah.
Is just pull out the crud. Pull out the crud and keep pulling out the crud. Which brings me to one final question I actually want to throw at you, Griffith, and it's simply this. You actually said this earlier. You said there's the weight of all that happened and there's I haven't told many people. And then you came back to that now and you said, telling someone, having it validated. Which for you is the bigger thing? Which is the heavier part? The weight of all that happened or that I really haven't told anyone or many people?
I think it's the telling people that's heavier, because I start off with, where do I start? Because it's like 12 years worth of stuff. I told a friend and they I told a therapist once and they laughed at me because of how ridiculous something sounded.
Oh, God.
So it's just figuring out where to start.
Yeah. And you see, you've just given your own map there. That is that is it. X marks the spot. You're afraid to tell, just like in Aldo's case, afraid to open up. And you got to keep doing it. But, you do it somewhat judiciously. Find someone, you open up a little bit, see if a person is open to more and open a little more. But the thing is, guys, that's what this fucking journaling does. I tell clients all the time, your journal should become your best fucking friend. And you're like, yeah, but I want to tell a person. Sure, you do. But in the meantime, the goal is just flush this shit, flush it. The letter writing and the journaling, flushing it. Believe it or not, it's extraordinarily powerful. But yeah, you need to be telling it more. You've now said it several times today. Gosh, there's relief when I tell it. And the fact that I haven't told a lot of people, you're afraid to tell your story. You're afraid to unburden yourself. Yet that's our natural reflex. There's an old Welsh proverb. I was telling Joss Stone this, the singer, when I was on her podcast. I said there's an old Welsh proverb that goes, no great tragedy goes unspoken. That is to say, the natural human reflex is to talk shit out of us, to get it out. And you've been keeping it in. And I guarantee you, fellas, the more you flush your shit out, the lighter you're going to become. And that's why a journal is an effective tool. Till you find that a partner, Aldo, till you find, people you feel more comfortable sharing more and more and more, Griffith, fucking use your fucking journal. But you got to get this shit out of you. You got to keep flushing it, because that's where the healing starts. And that's why journaling is so fucking good, and writing the fucking letters. Well, you two have been just fucking peaches to have on the show. You've both been so self-revealing, so vulnerable, so honest. I'm grateful for your stories, and not only the stories, but that you let me poke and prod and take you deeper, and that you answered some deep fucking questions. And I want to share a tiny little quote with you from my favorite author, Joseph Campbell. Joseph Campbell says, there is no birth without blood and the tearing of flesh. When a child is born, the woman has an episiotomy, or her flesh tears and there is blood and something is born. Well, each of you are in the birthing canal, becoming new Griffith, becoming new Aldo. You are being birthed, and it's dark in the birthing canal. And if you've ever seen a baby being born, the baby's head gets compressed. And then it expands, and that's why the baby's head has that hole in it. It gets compressed. It feels like your head is being crushed and your lungs are being crushed. And there's blood. There's the tearing of flesh, but you are each becoming new, Aldo, new Griffith. And there's pain, but you guys got to keep flushing that shit out. I guarantee you the new you is a glorious thing, but your natural state is a state of joy, a state of flushing, of getting out your emotions naturally, not holding them in. And there is joy ahead, but you have to have the courage to go in and be a Clemente. Remove the pack of all this stuff. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure was ours. Rob, any final thoughts?
Something I learned in my trauma support groups. You tend to think, well, somebody else has had it so much worse. I really shouldn't be concerned so much as I am. But the truth is, everybody has their own pain to work through, and everybody has their own path to finding that lightness and that joy. And both these guys have a lot to work on, and a lot of hopefulness to appreciate.
Indeed. A lot of hope and a lot of joy, and the fact that they're already, expressing their love, and Aldo with that beautiful daughter, and Griffith with the wonderful art and the friends and so forth. So much hope, I think. Well, I'm getting a double thumbs up from KC over in the booth, who's very excited. This has been a great show. We always love having the deeper voiced folks on the show, and sort of some facial hair that you all can't see, but I can see it. And Rob and I appreciate people who have hair on tops of their heads as well. So thank you for sharing the... Partly. Anyway, thanks so much for being on the show. It's been a great show. For all of you tuning in from around the world, we appreciate your joining us today. On behalf of my entire team, have a kick-ass day.
The Badass Counseling Show is strictly copyrighted. No copies may be made without the express written consent of the Badass Counseling Show, LLC. The Badass Counseling Show is produced by Karen Camparelli and Robert H. Friedman. Executive producer Sven Erlandson. Original music by two-time Emmy Award-winning composer Trevor Morris. Have a kick-ass day.